Okay, Beyond the Gates fans, here we are with season 1, episode 41. Pretty good episode. I liked it. I'm giving it a solid 7 out of 10. I, man, this particular episode, there were a couple of moments where it had me. Like I thought, okay, this character is going to make this decision or go in this direction, but they pulled a 180 on me. But in some cases, it is within character for certain people to make certain moves. So we're going to break this thing down. And of course, I feel like everybody is excited to talk about the Chelsea picking her face up off the floor moment here. But here we go. Danny turns Chelsea down, and Chelsea is just distraught about it. Like, wait, what? But this is a great opportunity, Mom, and you'll be such a great fit for the brand and everything. And like I said before, I still sympathize with Chelsea in terms of the relatability of an overbearing parent, how you finally get from under their thumb, but then you have somebody who's trying to push you back under it, where it's like, no, you'll be the one in control. And it's like, nah, that's not how it's going to work. But thankfully, Danny broke it down. I want to be honest here, though. I do feel like both of them should have been a bit more honest with each other. Yes, Chelsea does speak to Danny about her reservations initially until she finally came around to seeing things from Kat's perspective. Basically, yeah, Mom, it's like, it always feels like I'm not good enough. Yes, you helped me create a career that was very successful, and I'm taking that now to do my own thing, but I wish she was as honest with Danny as she was with Kat. Like the fact that, I could just tell by the way she looks at me with the side eye about what I wear and, this, that, and the third. And every time she's around, she doesn't treat me like an adult. She just makes me feel like I'm that 13-year-old kid again. And with Danny, I think back to episode 1. I mean, she kind of touched upon this where she talked about how she didn't want to talk about, doing Chelsea 2.0 or Danny 2.0. Essentially like episode 1 where Vanessa talked to Danny about, living her life through Chelsea. Basically, yeah, remember your old career? Do you feel like you're building Chelsea up because it's what she wants, or is it because you want to make up for the failed career? Well, not the failed career, but the career you gave up for Bill. So I feel like if they both were just a tad bit more honest, then they would see each other in different ways. But Danny was open and honest, and essentially she needs to get to back to her own thing. And honestly, Chelsea needs to fly on her own too. But like I said, I'm not really faulting Chelsea because initially this was her big thing. It's like, look, modeling is what my mom wants. I did it for X amount of years. I'm ready to do my own thing. So they both just need to learn how to fly on their own. I mean, Danny did it before, but yeah, when we're talking 30 plus years of, being a partner with, another person and building something together only for that to all crumble apart. Yeah, it's kind of like, Bambi trying to walk on ice. It's not going to be easy at first, but eventually you'll find your balance. And this is the best thing for both of them. Like Kat said, Danny being involved with the company is like a surefire, okay, this is no doubt going to work. This is no doubt going to work. We're going to make money. We're going to get a lot of sponsors, this, that, and the third. But I think in the long run, if Pam and Danny, no. When Pam, well, I was going to say when Pam and Danny's modeling agency takes off, but let's just see, because it's only been like a couple episodes. Let's just see if Danny can kick her, budding alcoholism to the curb, because I don't want her and Pam to, get this thing going, but then Danny messes it up. But let's just say hypothetically, things go well with their agency. Next thing you know, Samantha ends up being part of that agency as a client. And I know that would put Martin at ease because, okay, me and Smitty have a lot of reservations about the dangers of the modeling world. But if Danny's involved, if Aunt Danny's involved, oh man, then I know our daughter's going to be okay. And then, of course, the major thing is if Kat and Chelsea's purse line and other accessories take off, guess what? Hey, Mom has a modeling agency and she has a lot of successful clients, perhaps we can broker a deal where, we pay for advertising, aka, hey, we have some purses and whatnot. Can some of your models, well, model them? Or even, on the flip side, well, actually, no, it's not the flip side. If their agency takes off, then perhaps some of the clients at Pamela and Danny's agency could be, brief employees for the marketing side. It's like, hey, mom, we need about 4 of your models for some of the dresses and purses that Kat and I have put together. So, yeah, breaking away could be the best thing for both of them. Let their separate businesses, start to flourish, and then they could do, brand deals from time to time. And so that it's a win-win for everyone. Chelsea is from under her mom's thumb and is able to grow on her own, with Kat, of course. And then when it comes to Danny, she's able to become reinvigorated to help the next generation of models. So, yeah, this is great. This is definitely great. It's just that Chelsea, she couldn't, believe what was happening. And Danny goes into detail about, how Pam brought her this news about starting an agency, and Chelsea's happy. But she's like, yeah, at first I couldn't say yes because I couldn't commit because I had a sliver of hope this very conversation would have happened. Meaning that if Chelsea had done this, I don't know, several hours ago, this would have worked out in her favor. But like I said, I think everything happened the way it was supposed to happen. Now, speaking of Chelsea, she eventually, actually, before she leaves, Danny does say, there's one thing you can do for me, is that if you find me going off the rails and help reel me back in. That's an interesting other side of the coin, because if you remember, Leslie said the same thing to Eva about, baby girl, if you see me going off the edge or the cliff, pull me back in. Well, based off what we've seen in the past few episodes, including this one, that's not going to fly. So from there, Chelsea heads to Uptown. And it's funny because I was reading the comments. I've done, what was the video I did recently? Is CBS's new soap opera already losing some of its momentum? A lot of comments on it. A lot of good comments too. And I know some people talked about how the show has a lot of plot points that they brought up, but we haven't seen again. And like, what happened to that married couple Chelsea was messing around with? We only saw them like once. Well, they actually popped up in this episode. Not much to say there. It's cool because they haven't been around for almost 20 episodes. So, they show up, have some drinks, and then they go off to do, what they're about to do. And I mentioned this in another review a while ago, but I just love those moments where we see characters and they're in the same location, but of course they aren't really aware of each other. Like, I don't expect Joey to interact with Chelsea, but it's just little things like that because eventually Doug's in the background. Speaking of Doug, because Vanessa is actually at Uptown and Joey pops up on her, and he has the facade of, well, I'd like to learn about the business from you, some sort of partnership, since our journey to finding me a house has almost come to a close. And Vanessa is like, you could tell she wants to drop the panties right then and there. But again, Joey just has this charisma about him, and he wants to bring the money and use her expertise. So this could be his way. It's funny because Vanessa wants to open her legs for Joey when Joey just wants her to open her books to him. There's some crazy stuff. And she's unintentionally playing into his hands. So many gambling puns I can use with this. So when he's like, yes, I have some properties I could show you right now. And it's like he's looking on his phone. And if you can get it a little closer, and she could not get closer fast enough. Man, oh man, oh man, man. All right, so we go over to the diner. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't think we've ever seen Doug and Andre interact. But yeah, they're interacting. And Doug. So Andre's like, hey, sorry, I heard about your injury and whatnot. And he's like, you know what? Hey. He was like, you're a renowned and successful surgeon. what about you being in a documentary talking about the hardships, like doctors go through when, they suffer an injury or for whatever reason, they can't really do what they've been called to do because of the setback. And Doug kind of snaps on him. He's like, I'm sorry. No, it's not you. I apologize. Like, I just got this injury. I'm going to be out of commission for a few weeks. So I just don't, I'm not really up for the challenge at the moment, to do a documentary. And Andre's like, well, hey, have you thought about, and I think, wasn't it Shanice or Vanessa that mentioned this where, well, I know you can't do surgery, but how about, mentoring and teaching, other doctors in terms of, up and comers who want to be cardiac surgeons and whatnot. So he's like, I don't know. It's like, maybe I could just use this time to rest and whatnot. And from there, he talks about how the thrill of these surgeries is what gets him going. It's the rush, and it's almost like gambling. I mean, technically you're gambling people's lives, but it's just something unique about the craft. And Andre's like, wow, okay. Well, hey, you know what? Forget about the documentary, and I hope you have a speedy recovery. And as he's walking out, he sees a ticket on the ground. It's like, hey, is this yours? Oh, no, it's not my scratcher. Well, it is now. Maybe some good luck. Now, at first I thought it was Doug's because this is Doug we're talking about, but no, it's literally not his. And he gets out a coin, and you could tell he was eager to scratch it. Bro won $50,000. I'm thinking, man, that's what I'm talking about. Trust and believe. I forgot who Doug was for a moment because I'm thinking like, yeah, this should be enough to put a dent in his. Well, then again, I don't know how much this man owes Joey. I really wish they would have established that in the first week when he was in the hole and asked for Joey's help to begin with. But he calls Randy over. I think, Randy and him have a conversation. And Randy's like, man, 50K is like, you got an angel on your side, man. It's like you suffered that injury and look at you. You just won this. This is a huge, and I mean, a hefty down payment on Joey. And this could set you up because, that down payment could, possibly ward off any, I guess you could say, roughing him up between now and when his hand gets healed. But then Doug has the bright idea. I'm on a lucky streak right now. Doug, come on, man. It's like you have a losing streak. It's like you have a bad... Look, just take this and make the payment. Like, look, I mean, yeah, you were in deep with Joey, but now this could help get you out. No. He wants to bet on a dang horse. And I'm thinking, okay, he'll take a couple thousand or something and do it. But what happens towards the end of the episode? Because at first, Randy ignores Doug's phone call later on. And then Doug is at Uptown. He's like on cloud nine. Randy's like, look, man, I want to tell you because I'm the one that got you into this. Basically, he wanted to get Randy to link him up to a horse jockey or whatever. A bookie. And it turns out that not only did Doug's horse come in almost dead last, but he lost all the money. Like this... Like I said, I thought, okay, maybe he'll put a couple thousand here. Because at first I thought he was going back to the tables. But he's like, no, I want to get away from Joy. I want to bet another way. I have no sympathy for Doug. I don't. That was just painfully stupid. And also, that ain't how the lottery works. What about taxes? I know, because almost 3 years ago on my birthday, I spent I bought a $20 scratcher and I won $20,000. This is a true story. When I tell you the experience of winning the lottery is not what I thought at all. Because in the past I've won, 600 there, a couple hundred there, whatever. When I took that ticket to the lottery office, I thought it would be this grand thing. It ain't nothing. You just go in there, make sure you sign the back of the ticket, have your driver's license, social security card, and that's it. I was like, what? Like, what about the picture and all? It's like, well, I mean, if you take a picture, it'll be everywhere. And I'm like, whatever, never mind. I did ask for one of those huge novelty checks, though. Yeah, I still got the check. It's just a big old lottery check that's blank. I was hoping they would fill it out, but no. I'm like, well, dang. And they gave me a t-shirt, and they only had a 1X. I'm like, bro, I'm a 2. Like, big people win the lottery too, man. What's up? But you want to know the most heartbreaking part? You want to know? They took the taxes out in front of me. Right in front of me, they took the taxes out. So instead of a $20,000 check, I got like 13 or 14. And I was like, man, that killed me. That killed me. Oh yeah, I do play online lottery though. I'm not an addict like Doug, but I do play. Last year I won $4,000 on a $20 game. And the thing that, and this is a word to the wise. I live in Virginia, so I can only speak on the Virginia lottery, but I am confident that all the states do this. When I won that because when you win like above $600, then you know that's taxable. But like, say I won $4,000 on a scratch off. If I went to the lottery office and cashed it, they would take the taxes out. But since I won the $4,000 on the website, I got all the money at once. So there's a major difference. But that's what the reason I'm bringing this up is if Doug won that money, and if he went to cash it in, he would not have $50,000. He would probably have something like close to in the 30,000 to low 40,000 range. So, but then again, people have talked to me in the comments. Jeremy is soap opera logic, similar to like you mentioning phones and whatnot. It's the soap opera world. Nobody locks their phone and nobody locks their doors. People can just walk in. So, hey, I'll let it go. I'm not docking points for this. I'm just making, a point myself. All right. So, this fool done lost the money. And speaking of L's, he sees Joey and Vanessa from across the room in Uptown. And he's like, what the is this? And, I don't know what gets into Doug, but by the end of the episode, him and Vanessa are at home getting, frisky. But then again, I'm thinking to myself, she's turned on because of her time with Joey, and Doug is probably trying to make a point because it's like, okay, let me get my wife's mind off this old man. So, okay. Now, from there, we go over to Derek and Ashley. We haven't seen these two together in a week or so. I think the last time we saw him was at the hospital when she was worried about him, or was it the whole situation where his coworker got injured? But in any case, they're having a chill day. And I think that's fine because Ashley deserves it she's just started at the hospital and so much has happened already. But I think that this was one of those random moments of the episode where it went another direction than I thought. So Ashley's taking a compatibility relationship quiz in her magazine. And Derek's like, oh, we don't need some. This is a typical storyline in any show or movie. Oh, we don't need to take any tests to know that we're compatible. And at first it seems like, oh man, they're going to flunk. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't know why I thought this, but I'm like, I bet these two are going to bomb the compatibility test. And I don't know how this would work out, but I imagine if, let's say, she's thinking about on the job and Andre's like, hey, something the matter? And then I don't know why, but Ashley confides in him about the test. And then next thing you know, they end up taking the test. Like she asks him a bunch of questions and it turns out they're way more compatible. That's what I thought would happen. But no, they take the test and it turns out by the end of it, it's like they're quote unquote mortgage material. And then they end up getting frisky too. So, All right. So the only other things to talk about here are in relation to Eva, Nicole, Shelly, and Ted. So Eva is talking with Ted in the dining area of the country club, and she is freaking out because she's looking over her shoulder and she notices Shelly and Nicole chatting. And the thing is, Shelly's like, oh yeah, I'm leaving town. I found my purpose. And Nicole wants to know, why did you get, taken out of the award ceremony the other night? And we never got to hear the answer. We just know that Eva is trying to distract Ted because, remember, Ted doesn't know that Eva saw him at the apartment talking to Leslie. So she knows that if Ted sees Nicole with Shelly, he's going to know that it's Leslie and everything's going to, fall apart. And that really does explain why Eva snapped on Leslie later in the episode. Because had Ted seen her in that moment, their whole plan would have been screwed up. So eventually, there's a lot of back and forth and a lot of close calls too. A lot of close calls because Ted said, "Hey, didn't I just see you talking to somebody?" "Oh yeah, that's just a former patient. That's all, nothing to worry about." And from there, Eva's like, "Okay, well, if there's anything else, I will do some last minute. No, I'll contact party planners about the last minute arrangements, and we should be good to go." And Ted confides in Nicole that he simply wants to, sweep her off her feet to go to a getaway, to the beach and whatnot, because he wants her all to herself and all to himself. But in reality, it's like, it's almost like Ted knows something's going to happen, but oh man, this is not going to be good. This is not going to be good. But Nicole's like, "Look, no, if this was maybe a month ago, I'd say yes, but we have people coming out of town and everybody's looking forward to celebrating the anniversary with us. So, I just got a feeling. I got a feeling that everything's going to fall apart." Oh yeah, and before we take a last minute trip over to Leslie and Eva's apartment, after telling Chelsea no, Danny actually called Pamela over to tell her the idea is great and we're going to move forward with our modeling agency. And from there, he's like, "There's one thing we need to do first." "What's that?" And I'm thinking, oh crap, is it a Haley thing? No, she actually calls Andre over for an impromptu photo shoot. Get some, publicity photos and whatnot. I think it was funny. And I think one of my favorite parts of the episode is when Andre takes a step to the kitchen to get some water, and Pamela, mentions how, wow, it's like, you got your fire back. And she looks at Andre and smiles, and then we go back to a few episodes ago where he mentioned the fire that, she's capable of, reigniting. And, well, here it is. So I just hope that this leads to Danny, looking towards things in a new direction, because like Chelsea said, "Mom, we've heard this all before about you moving on and this, that, and the third." But it's like, "No, baby girl, this time I mean it." And yeah, this is definitely great. It really is. Also, it's funny because it feels like a throwback to when Danny got arrested and she took getting her mugshot as nothing more than just a random photo shoot. Good Lord. All right. But then, yeah, not much to say here aside from the fact that we have Eva going in on her mom about lying to her, and Leslie is, mad that her daughter would talk to her like this, but she's making a good point. I mean, you lied to Ted, you lied to Nicole, and this, that, and the third, but I never thought you lied to me. So at some point, Eva is going to figure out the whole thing with Laura was indeed her mom, from the accident to the infection she's gotten. So yeah, she's, man. But the worst part is for Eva is if the secret is exposed before she turns on her mom, because she could easily tell Nicole and Ted what's up beforehand, but if she gets caught in the lie, they're not going to trust her. But only time will tell. So with that being said, folks, pretty solid episode. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.